Welcome to today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. So happy you could join us. In today's package, Tackling Mathematics, the Ministry of Education shares its plans for improving students' performance in GSAT and other exams. We also hear from you on the numbers subject. And it's Sickle Cell Awareness Week. Know the signs and symptoms, plus what the Ministry of Health is doing. All this unfolds right after this message.
Some marine, you know. Yeah?
Yeah, man, I have the package 6 for 1,000.
6,000.
Yeah.
How much I want?
Yeah, man, 2 bays I want.
Yeah, man, the one that's
$5 grand.
Yeah, man. Same. Alright,
What one, cat?
you don't know, I sit downtown the other day there.
Oh.
I want to come brethren them man, we buy and sell marina. One of them I sell a 6-pack for $1,000 and the next one I sell one for $200.
So where buy?
Buy 5 of them for $1,000. Think them can't rob me.
So Uncle Fancy is the same $1,000 you would spend to get the 6? Seriously?
Tell them again now my math brains.
Math count.
Math counts.
Sponsored by the Ministry of Education.
Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, June 23. As the government takes steps to achieve lasting economic growth, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller is calling on Jamaicans to continue the process of building on the foundations laid.
I encourage the Jamaican people to keep faith with the social and economic program that the government is pursuing to achieve sustainable growth and development for all. I know that there are many challenges in the family, the community, and the nation. However, working together, we're on our way to a brighter future.
The Prime Minister points out that while the economic program of the government is focused on achieving equitable growth, jobs and social protection for the vulnerable, its success depends on the collective support of all sectors of the society. Mrs. Simpson Miller was speaking at a recent luncheon in honor of Scarlett Gillings, the outgoing Managing Director of the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF. The Prime Minister lauded Mrs. Gillings for her successful management of the fund for the past 18 years, during which 1.6 million Jamaicans in 144 communities benefited from 1,600 projects.
A vital part of JSIF's mission in the current socio-economic policy framework is to mobilize resources and channel them to community-based projects that will give Jamaicans the opportunity to improve their living conditions and earn a livelihood for themselves.
There are plans to replace 20 to 30% of the wheat used in the baking industry with cassava flour, and as a result, a cassava flour facility is to be opened at the Sydney Pagan Agricultural School in St. Elizabeth. Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly says these developments are in line with government's continued thrust to substitute food imports with locally produced items.
Like imported barley, imported wheat flour can be replaced by local inputs, such as cassava and breadfruit flour. These imports do not have to have a monopoly on our food systems. And as the government continues its economic reform program, the agricultural sector is determined to play its part by spurring growth and sustainability, even while we increase import substitution.
Mr. Kelly was speaking recently at Red Stripe, where a cassava starch factory was commissioned into service. The company has invested almost $2 million in its Project Grow initiative, part of which will involve replacing imported barley with cassava starch in beer production. In the meantime, the Ministry of Agriculture continues to work to ensure that the country meets and maintains international standards for food exports. Training was recently provided to build capacity so local stakeholders can handle increased competition from other countries, deal with the high cost of operation, and intercept pests and diseases.
We have trained our technocrats, we have trained farmers, and an important international training we had was the Joint Institute for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, University of Maryland, USDA approved training course. in gaps.
He says over 200 export farmers have been trained in food safety modernization and good agricultural practices gaps. The Chief Technical Director was speaking at a recent forum on food exporting requirements to the U.S. He said modern food safety practices that ensure food supply is safe, wholesome, properly labeled, and traceable from farm to table are critical to business success.
So what are our next steps? It has to be towards certification. Global gap for markets in America. We're actually bringing on about 2 experts in the next couple of weeks to train us, about 20 of us, in global gap. Going towards certification, the agri-parks have to be certified if they are going to export.
Meanwhile, government has been working to increase awareness of the importance of accreditation for local laboratories. The Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation, JANAC, recently launched an Accreditation Ambassadors program to help local labs see the importance of meeting global standards. Industry Minister Anthony Hilton recently presented instruments of appointment to the 13 ambassadors who were trained. Accreditation certificates were presented to the Technological Solutions Chemistry and Microbiology Laboratories, the Bureau of Standards Packaging Laboratory, and the Guyana Rice Development Board Central Laboratory. The certificates mean that these labs have met global standards for food testing. And finally, an investigation has been launched into a cyber attack which targeted the website of the Jamaica Information Service Monday night. JIS Chief Executive Officer Donna Marie Rowe confirmed Tuesday that the website was restored to full operation within 4 hours of the attack.
At this time, cyber teams from the JCF and MSTEM are conducting investigations, and we will provide more information as soon as it becomes available.
Mrs. Rowe says the hackers did not get access to sensitive data on the site. Their attempts were constrained to surface defacement. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
Businessmen and women, members of the MSMEs, no longer do you have to visit several government agencies to register a company or business name. Visit the COJ. They are willing and prepared to assist you in filling out the new business registration form, more commonly known as the Super Form.
The overwhelming response from the majority of our customers is, why did this take so long to happen? There are persons who actually waited until January 2nd to come here to do their business because they wanted to avoid going to multiple government departments.
Click on ocrjamaica.com for more details.
This week is being commemorated as Sickle Cell Awareness Week, and it's therefore critical that we are in the know on this condition. Watch keenly.
Many of us will remember a childhood of carefree, fun-filled days where we hardly thought about our health and doctor visits were few and far between. For Jamaicans living with sickle cell disease, however, taking good health for granted was not usually an option, and many found their childhood years disrupted by frequent bouts of illness. Sickle cell is a genetic disorder which is passed on directly to a child from the parents. The disease alters hemoglobin, HB, a major component of the red blood cells. 10% of Jamaica's population, or 260,000 persons, carry the sickle cell trait, while another 5% carry other abnormal hemoglobin genes. These abnormal genes, when combined with the sickle cell gene, result in various forms of sickle cell. There are several genetic combinations that can cause a child to be born with a type of sickle cell disease or the trait. For example, if one parent in any given pregnancy has the normal genes for hemoglobin AA and the other parent has the sickle cell genes SS, then the child will inherit the sickle cell trait. There is no possibility that the child will get sickle cell disease. If a parent has the sickle cell trait and the other has the AC gene with the C representing another form of abnormal hemoglobin in any given pregnancy, there's a 25% chance that they will end up having a child with normal AA genes, a 25% chance that the child will have the sickle cell trait, a 25% chance that the child will have the AC gene, which is normal, and a 25% chance that they will have the SC form of the sickle cell disease.
Hemoglobin consists of two main components, a heme component, which is the actual oxygen carrying component, and a globin component, which is the protein part that gives it a background or a structure. Classically speaking, when we speak of sickle cell disease, we're speaking of a problem with the globin part of the hemoglobin molecule.
Normal blood cells have the shape of a dumpling or a disc, which allows them to easily squeeze and maneuver through blood vessels. In sickle cell disease, the red blood cells, due to the abnormality, tend to lose their normal dumpling shape after releasing oxygen to cells and organs. They then assume a rigid, sickled or half-moon shape and tend to stick together, which can result in blocked blood vessels. Persons with sickle cell disease may experience severe pains all over their bodies. However, most frequently they experience pain in their joints and the bones of their legs, arms, chest, and back.
The symptoms that I might have whenever I feel a crisis coming on, it will start with a headache for me. Other sicklers might have different areas where the pain might come on, but for me, headaches, then slight chest pains, and that's how I know when I'm having a crisis or going to have a crisis.
Persons with sickle cell are also vulnerable to certain ailments during their lifetime.
In infancy, the major problems is that they're prone to infections. They can develop a condition we call splenic sequestration, where there's a lot of blood that pools or gathers in the spleen, and that can cause them to be very sick. One characteristic feature that a lot of people with sickle cell disease have is that their eyes will become yellow. And it's, when it does happen, it becomes alarming at first, but that's called jaundice. But it's because they're actually breaking down the red cells very fast within their body. As they get older, by the time they're in adolescence, all upon that they will sometimes develop these ulcerations of the legs, so they get chronic leg ulcers, sore foot in plain term. As they get even older, to be young adults, they may have problems such as kidney problems, or they may end up with heart problems as they get older and be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, that sort of an issue. So it varies throughout lifespan.
Persons with the sickle cell trait tend not to experience any major symptoms because they have inherited a regular gene and abnormal gene from their parents. Therefore, they have enough normal blood cells to effectively carry out the process of oxygenation. However, they may experience some discomfort when at high altitudes, in a stressful situation, or after overexertion. Just imagine the sort of disruption and discomfort sickle cell can bring to a person's life. The process of oxygenation takes place constantly on a day-to-day basis. Furthermore, certain conditions that provoke sickle cell symptoms, such as a sudden change in the weather and stress, are unavoidable.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Last week, many of us witnessed and heard of the tears of joy, and for some, sadness when the Grade 6 Achievement Test results were released. While there was overall improvement in most of the subjects, there was an unfortunate 3.7% decline in mathematics. The Education Ministry continues to strengthen its programs to address performance in this area. Keep watching for some of the intervention programs planned for the summer.
In mathematics, the 3.7, if you round it up to 4%, decline in performance in mathematics in the 2015 sitting of the Grade 6 Achievement Test is worrying. It's attributed to the increase in the number of items which required greater levels of reasoning and application. This was, however, consistent with the range outlined in the blueprint for the test, which specifies the areas to be assessed from the curriculum. In other words, we didn't come with any surprises. The challenge students faced handling these items may be attributed to one of the issues with which the ministry continues to contend as it relates to the teaching and learning of mathematics. And that is the emphasis on rote learning rather than the teaching of concepts. Placing an emphasis on students remembering steps to take in solving a problem without an understanding of the underlying concepts will affect the ability of those students to handle items that they may consider as unusual or non-routine, since they require reasoning and application. In order to avert this, the retraining of our teachers is one very specific issue. The Ministry of Education has begun a solid program of upgrading and coaching teachers of mathematics. I'm asking the public to note that we're not just simply accepting a deficit there and doing nothing about it. We are enjoining school officials that any remediation that is necessary in literacy and numeracy be dealt with prior to the beginning of the grade 7 curriculum, also in September. All students who have got less than 50% or less in their mathematics or literacy outcomes from GSAT be brought in for a special program which will place them in a much better position to benefit from high school education. And similarly, we are going to be launching a new effort at grade 5 in the 800 plus primary schools, because we can't have the noted and recognizable deficiencies that have led to the fallback in the mathematics results this year continue next year.
We're trying to be more consistent and deliberate, and the approaches we have been using that we found to be successful will be the similar approaches that we will apply.
So you've heard some of the Education Ministry's strategies for tackling mathematics, but parents also have a role to play in the process. We went out the road to get your views.
I send them to start the class that they may have an extra lesson, okay, and that will help.
In order to improve maths with students going to school, I think they should do it in a musical way, since they listen to music almost every day, so maybe they will learn that way because they catch on to music very fast.
Help me to study.
I think parents need to be more hands-on in terms of some of the practical things they can do with math, real-life examples. So instead of going to the book to say like 10 plus 10, they could actually have like physical stuff that add up to 10 plus 10 and be more hands-on and thing.
Yeah, spend time with them basically. To spend time with them and help them go through like their homework as it relates to mathematics.
Just spend more time with them children, for the parents them don't have time for them children, so the children them just let go all about.
I have to just show some more interest in them and spend some time with them. Sacrifice some time, and if you just give them some assistance, and then we do much better.
I would say math and music. So math to music, you know, like how kids pick up songs real easy and stuff. At home, find a beat, find a song that a child likes, and yeah, do the math to that.
Spend more time with the child. I mean, you know, you have evening classes, you know what I mean? Send them to evening class, you know. Put in the extra work, you know what I mean? Teacher alone can't do it. You know, school alone can't do it. Of course, you have to send them, you know, to further themselves and so forth.
Some practical suggestions there for parents. I particularly like the mathematics to music suggestion. Our educators have already been employing some of these suggestions to make teaching mathematics more practical and fun. One vehicle is the annual Mathematics Expo.
Not liking maths, then you can just say goodbye to any of these professions. Claims adjuster, chemist, engineer, sociologist, even nurse. Welcome to another week of School Zone. I'm Tamara McHale, and today we give you highlights of the Ministry of Education Maths Expo, held under the theme Maths Revolution Equal Economic Solution. There was an even more serious goal to the day's activities.
We want you to see the different career opportunities and to set your goals to qualify yourselves in mathematics so that you can be gainfully employed in Jamaica and elsewhere in the globe.
And that's exactly what happened, as captivated students listened to presenters sharing the importance of mathematics in various professions.
It doesn't matter where in the world you are, what subjects you like, or what decision you have to make. Math is the first thing that you have to consider.
There was even one presenter from as far as Singapore, the country which ranks the best in mathematics and science globally, according to results from the Trends in International Mathematics and Science study.
Mathematics in Singapore is different. There's a new methodology in mathematics. Okay, we call it the CPA concept, concrete, pictorial, and abstract. Along with it, we have methodologies like bar modeling. It's used widely now. We have spread the word across the world.
In the CPA method, you move from actual objects around you, concrete, then you create pictures, pictorial, and the final stage is using math symbols to connect it all, abstract. This helps students picture numbers and sizes in their minds so they can work out mathematical equations. With the help of 32 exhibitors, 6,000 students from 200 schools across the island, maybe even yours, got to working it out.
10-gram pieces, and the aim of the 7 pieces cut from a square, and they're supposed to create those designs that you see out there by combining the shapes.
The vertical movement and the horizontal movement, just by counting on this. We went to the right, so it's positive, and went up, so that is also positive. So it's 6 over 6, which is 1. So the gradient is positive 1. Yeah. Y equals x plus 1.
I'm very elated. I'm thinking that the Ministry of Education is now heading in the right direction.
This Math Expo, I must say it was rather fun and interesting.
That the CXC exam is coming up, it's very beneficial because we can learn a lot from this.
There's always an easier way to math, there's an easier way to look at it, and you can relate the strategies to things in daily life. For example, the lady was talking about algebra, and she was saying that you could look on algebra as dressing up. So you would put on one garment at a time. And when you realize it is really simple, you're just like everyday life.
Do you or someone you know have a disability? Do you want to start a business or need some financial help for an already established business? Then we've got you covered. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security through the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities offers grant funding to individuals and groups under its Disabilities Economic Empowerment Grant Program.
You have to be registered with the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. For persons doing the business, you must have a business plan. You must have your TRN, and the business owner from which you are purchasing, or the supplier from which you are purchasing, they must have their TRN also.
Get on the path to economic empowerment and independence. You have the ability. For further information, contact the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities at 968-8373, 926-9374, or visit their head office at 18 Ripon Road.
As you all know, the Jamaica Diaspora Conference 2015 was held last week at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James. Local companies got a chance to meet, greet and forge partnerships with our Jamaican brothers and sisters overseas.
The reason for being here is because we are trying to bring the taste, the true taste of Jamaica to the UK. The products that we're working with at present is teas. We're working with water, lifespan water, a rum bar. And one of the most interesting things is bag juice.
So this Diaspora Conference has worked for you?
Yeah, it has actually, because the JAMPROs managed to arrange a number of meetings with various different suppliers in various different sectors in the food and beverages industry, which I'm hoping that, you know, over the next months we can sit down and negotiate terms and import some more products into the UK.
And through Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO's business-to-business or B2B meetings, local companies will also be tapping into the export market. Andrew Chisholm spoke with one representative of a local company.
We're here with Antoinette Palmer Davis, whose company specializes in personal care products. They cater to your skin or body and or hair, am I correct? And her brand is called Etenio. Antoinette, how has the Diaspora Conference helped you with your product?
It has been a great experience. So far we've had 2 B2B meeting compliments of JAMPRO. They saw these people for us and we're very happy for that. We have met so far with a young lady from out of Maryland, and she will be distributing the products in the DC, Maryland and Virginia area. She'll be targeting the boutique stores because our products are very high end. So she'll be targeting the boutique stores, the boutique salons to carry our products in those 3 states. It's a very good conference. We're making lots of inroads. With Etenio going to the world, we are going to be known as a destination for good skin, good hair care, good body care products.
We're looking for linkages with various diaspora organizations to spread the funding for the projects that we carry. We're getting a lot of funding from non-Jamaicans, which is a little bit of a concern for me, so we're trying to plug it into the Jamaican diaspora. That's the primary reason. Secondly, it's just a good networking opportunity. Any economic development program for Jamaica going forward needs to heavily include the diaspora. So I hope to be part of that and to play a role in that, both from my own perspective in my own businesses and as a matter of the macroeconomy and what it can do in that regard.
So local businesses and members of the Jamaica Diaspora are seeking to support Jamaica's economic reform program by expanding their businesses, which in turn will create jobs and grow the economy. As the theme suggests, individuals at the Jamaica Diaspora are linking for growth and prosperity. And on that positive note is how we close the pages of today's Jamaica Magazine. We look forward to your feedback, so drop us a line at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Plus keep up to date by our numerous online and social media platforms. On behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson, inviting you to tune in again tomorrow for another edition. Until then, do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.